Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
Rules?
There are no rules.
What rules?
This is a revolution, damn it!
You'll hear things you've never heard before.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
They want NWA? Let's give them NWA.
Who are those guys?
And then there's the other guys.
We're the other guys. We're the guys nobody ever bets on.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
It's time for the Other Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts, Tim, Dave, and Jeremy.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and what can we tell you? Vaginal yeast infections are brought to you by alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information around the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Tim. Well, listen, I tuned up the TV in the background, and before our show, the ad was vaginal yeast infections and how they can be solved. And my wife is like, "Is this your advertising block? This is who your target audience is?" So apparently, I apologize. My name is Tim. I am joined by these two fine podcasters here. This is Jeremy right over here to my immediate left on the screen. Anyway, how are you, buddy?
Yeast free.
And this gentleman down here, this is our fantasy booker extraordinaire, Mr. Dave Scooby. He's gone. He's like, won't be part of this. Can't be part of this right now. I'm sure he'll be back in a second. Seems to be having some technical difficulties. Hey, everybody. It's good to see you. I'm going to add Dave to the stage. How you doing, Dave?
Doing good. Sorry, got knocked off for a minute.
Yeah, no worries. No worries at all. This is Devil's Night, guys. I guess actually probably, tomorrow night is sort of the podcasting Devil's Night, but this is our last pay-per-view before the Halloween, or our pay-per-view, our last live stream before the Halloween theme pay-per-view, Samhain, the most violent pay-per-view in the history of the National Wrestling Alliance.
In a no state.
What's that?
In a no blood state.
In a no blood state. There will be no blood. There will be lots of PG level violence, perhaps.
Just be violent and film it in black and white. That way you don't see the blood.
Right. I thought that was a great idea. I'd watch a black and white pay-per-view at Halloween.
I would. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Willie Bowen's around, and Willie is relentless in his assault on Angelina Love. Willie's always been crazy against the Tyrus and crazy against the Angelina Love, of course. But we love you, Willie. Willie, I just sent you a Facebook request. You believe that? How have we been doing this all this time and we're not Facebook friends? Media Mike, Money Mike, Demonetizing Mike. He's the one who came up with the how Toeg, the Other Alliance guys, is goat backwards, and he wants 5% of all of our money. Which
I think we can swing 5% of nothing. So,
I mean, it'll stretch us pretty thin, but
yep.
Well, who else is here? Anybody here? Ooh, who is this? Noob and Co TV. Hello. Welcome. New name, new face. Thanks for joining the show. We got a bunch of stuff to get tonight. But it's all pretty much one way or another just NWA related for the next 90 minutes or so. Although Jeremy's going to talk about UWN, which is still NWA, kind of related with the best from the vault, right? There's another bunch of NWA matches.
Yep.
And Dave's going to do some fantasy booking around the NWA. And are there too many titles and not enough talent to fill them right now? Might be on to something there. But let's go over Power a little bit. Let's talk just a little bit about Power, guys. Jeremy, did you watch Power yesterday?
I caught bits and pieces of it.
There was an announcement by Violent J for a Riddle Box match. So there was a match on Power a couple weeks ago, or that aired a couple weeks ago, where one of the members of La Rebellion, I think it was Mecha Wolf, faced off against one of the members of Brothers of Funstruction, who I think was Yabo, but don't quote me. And the winner got to do a pick your poison match for the pay-per-view. You'd be able to pick whatever type of match you wanted. And through somewhat nefarious means, the Brothers of Funstruction came out on top. And so Violent J selected a Riddle Box match. And, your boy, the other Timmy Thunder, went, what is a Riddle Box match? And how much will I hate this on a scale of, 1 to Tyrus? And this is sort of
big scale.
Yeah. This has sort of been explained to me, guys, as there's going to be boxes all around. Some of them will have things that are good and useful, and others will be like, I don't know. I guess we'll see. If there's anything that's possibly in there. What do you think about this match, Jeremy? What's your opinion on that style of match?
When done right, they can be good. A match where you bringing in weapons and stuff, when done properly, they can be good. I don't know what is going to be involved with the Riddle Boxes on This Is the NWA podcast. Monday they had Violent J on, and they talked to him, and hey, so there could be flip-flops in there, pies, anything. They're Riddle Boxes, it's could be anything. Chainsaws, ladders, there's no telling. I don't see chainsaws or ladders coming into play in it, but again, you never know.
We're going to talk about that. I forgot to put it in our little cheat sheet or format. But Dave, I know that you probably saw this as well too, and you're going to this pay-per-view. Yeah. Mike says Violent J makes a Riddle Box match, and maybe should have made a stop during promos while you're fucking blasted out your Gourd Box match. Like that promo, wow. I mean, he didn't seem like he was entirely on point, but what's your opinion of this particular match, Dave?
Well, I mean, it says it in the name, Riddle Box. Riddle me this. You have no clue what's going to really happen. They're basically covering their ass due to the fact that it's a no blood state and it can't be as violent as they want to be. I mean, it's one of these things, 6 of one, half dozen of another. They're going to use what they can to get out of this match. I just hope this match ends soon, or this is the last of this match. I like both teams that are involved, but the quote unquote manager really, I mean, it doesn't work for me. But I mean, as much as Violent J may be under the influence of something non-legal, at least in some states, the guy can cut a promo.
Right. Oh, for sure.
And it's one of these things of, if he's going to be with the NWA, even off and on, have him work with some of this younger talent. He's used to being on stage and people looking at him. A lot of the younger talent and talent that haven't worked TV don't know how to express themselves. So it's one of these things of, get with somebody that knows what they're doing.
Right.
He may not be a full-time wrestler, but he has wrestling going through his veins, going all the way back to the late 90s. So use what you can that's around you to make things happen. But I'm not sure what this match is really going to take care of. If one team wins, does the other team leave? Who knows? It's not a loser leave, but I just don't want them to stretch it out so long that we get tired of both teams and anybody involved with it.
Yeah, I got to figure, guys, that this would be sort of a time for La Rebellion to take a break. You know, if they're going into AAA, if they're, going to heat up down there or do something else, that'd be a good time. And we'll see you again in 6 to 9 months, right? That'd be great when they come back. Just freshen it up. But
Crockett Cup, return at Crockett Cup.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, we'll talk about that. Mike's talking about that promo. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But that was just something I thought, this is dumb. This is like what I don't want to see this out of the NWA that I myself, the stuff that I'm into. And like Dave got me into MLW, and I like all kinds of different things too. I grew up a WWF kid, so the gimmicks and the silly stuff has always been there for me. And I don't know, there's just something about this feud. Nothing about it really has hit for me. And like, I can see them opening a box and there's another cream pie, and I don't care.
Yeah.
Just get it over with. By the way, while we're on this, and I don't know if you guys agree, disagree, it's fine either way. Stop calling these guys legends. Look, Vampiro was fun back in the 90s. It's not like, I know he's a little older than me. I know he's been around a long time. I wouldn't call him a legend, guys. I'd call him a old school, 90s, 2000s wrestler. I was a fan. I'm kind of a fan now. I still think he looks cool.
Yeah.
But he's not a legend. Ric Flair's a legend. Ricky Morton's a legend. You can call Ricky Morton a legend. Don't call Violent J a legend. He's not a legend.
I think we could get away with calling Vampiro a legend if we were in Mexico.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Yes, geographically.
If we were in Mexico, we could definitely get away with calling Vampiro a legend down there.
Yep.
But the calling Violent J a legend, no. I'm sorry. Not even in music are you a legend, bro. No.
Willie can't see us. If anyone can talk to him in the chat for a second, but he can't see us right now. It's weird.
Turn it off, wait 30 seconds, and turn it back on
again. The IT manager.
If that doesn't work, then look for the IDT10.
Should have been, Mike says that, the ID. You know what? I got in trouble at work once years ago. I answered a call and I fixed a computer problem, and we had these like mic radios, and I said, yeah, it's an ID10T. And the lady that was right in front of me she was like, I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm like,
I got that off of a IT support buddy I had. That's the only reason I know it. And he's like, well, maybe it's the ID10T. And I was like, and I sat there for a second. And I was like, oh, that's kind of messed up, bro.
I've just lost an entire screen here. Isn't that weird? Okay. Anyway, we move on because we're professionals. Yeah, I can see Gally and Kyle cringe during that. Yeah, I mean,
and to that point though, I've Violent J's been on kind of like a media tour here lately. I just watched him on Steve-O's podcast. I think he was on there about a month and a half ago or so. And Steve-O is completely sober, and I believe at some point, Violent J said out of respect, he came sober to that, which Steve-O appreciated, but I think he is burnt. I think that's just how he sounds now.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Not trying to defend him or anything, but
listen, you listen to the live stream from last night where he didn't sound sober to me. And listen to the video that he cut for the Riddle Box match where he sounds entirely sober. I mean, I'm not throwing stones. Do as thou wilt. Nobody gets hurt but you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I thought there was a difference. There did seem to be something going on there. Let's see what we got here in the chat. Hey, Jamin Music Man's here. How are you doing, sir? Good to see you. The cats are freaking out. Everything's mass hysteria. Knox and Murdoch will be the next.
Fixed.
Yeah, I guess Willie got it fixed. Yeah. So Murdoch's will be the next NWA World Tag Team Champions. You could be right. I disagree, but we're going to go to that, tonight. We'll talk about it because you two gentlemen are going to come on tomorrow night with the Alliance guys and do your picks. I'm not going to be able to make that show. It's very unlikely anyway. So I will probably just give you guys the picks tonight. I'll put them out on the air as we go through it, and you can see how well I do or how poorly. What else last night? Stuff that happened. Roxy came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of wrote down in my notes. Deal said like, oh, but she got fired. She got fired. And I thought, she did?
When?
Yeah. Didn't they just never mention her again until now?
Yeah.
And then now, like after he says, oh, she got fired a while ago. What's up with that? And it's just, and then Ella and, Kylie and Kenzie kind of beat her down and go, you were never cool enough and you're out. Like the continuity error was bad.
Yeah.
Was this one of those things that they fired her on social media somewhere and we just didn't see it?
Maybe, but if that's the case, then maybe tell us that.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a bit of a continuity error when it happened, but hey, I'm always glad when there is a talented young wrestler back in the NWA, especially in the ladies division. Dave, we haven't seen Roxy in a while, and Noob doesn't remember Roxy getting fired either. Yeah. Mike says, whoop-de-doo, Roxy was back. Just another person in the NWA is nothing interesting that will happen. Well, wait, there's not enough ladies wrestlers, right?
There's not enough ladies wrestlers at the moment, and Kenzie was just another face in the NWA that was jobbing out, and
I agree.
I can't see him having her come back, bringing her back in, and having that happen to her, and then just dropping the story. Not saying that isn't what is going to happen, because it very well could. But I would hope that they would follow this up, and she interferes in some way, and then they lead to more story with her. Pair her up with the tag team or something.
Yeah. Do you give her a partner, Dave? Do you give her a couple of partners? Do you send her against Pretty Empowered now?
I mean, it's almost like you have to.
Yeah.
They need to either finish the story and either send her on her way or make it storyline, because I'll talk about it later in the fantasy booking, but like Jeremy said, the women's division, it's in flux. There's too many belts for the amount of women that are there wrestling. And it's one of these things of, if they're there, use them. And I mean, they just need to find somebody that can partner up with her to go after the belts. I'm not saying win, but they need to finish that pretty empowered storyline one way or another. Either boot her to the curb now, or take that story and spin it. Like I said, she doesn't need to win. She just needs to be there and wrap up that story. So if they can get another female, either from Exodus Pro or from Jacobs Pritchard, which I believe she trains at, use them to your advantage. They don't have to be full-time wrestlers. They just need to be there for those tapings and a possible pay-per-view down the line.
That's right. You guys remember when I had that Jacobs Richard shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For one day? Anyway. Off air story. Go ahead, Jer.
I want to draw attention to something that Mike said. If it'll, there we go. That the NWA has plenty of women wrestlers, but not enough time for them to do anything worthwhile. And I think that's a problem, not just in the NWA. If we're being honest, that's a problem with WWE. That's a problem with AEW. That's a problem with TNA, Ring of Honor. That's a problem with all promotions that aren't women centered, like WoW or that honestly should really change. I'm going to pull out my soapbox for a minute and hoist myself up on it, and that does really need to change, because we've said this before on majority of the past pay-per-views that the NWA has had. When Camille was wrestling, Camille stole the show.
100%.
And 9 times out of 10, we've given more praise to the women's matches than we have the men's matches.
Yep.
And that says something, because we're of the generation that grew up that's the bathroom break.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the concession run. That's the beer.
Oh, he froze there for a sec. He's still frozen. You hear me, Dave?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, he's back. You there, Jer?
Yeah.
Yeah, you bugged out for a second right after the generation of the bathroom break match.
Yeah, but that's something that should really change. I would like to see Billy kind of lead that charge and make it a half and half show. If you've got 2 men's matches, you get 2 women's matches. If you get 1 men's match, you get 1 women's match.
We don't. The 3 of us, in fact, don't often disagree, but I disagree with you on that. Like, I totally get what you're saying. It makes perfect sense, because the best wrestlers that the NWA has elevated thus far, like when I think on it from that level, regardless of gender, it's Camille, like you said. It's Thunder Rosa. I know she's been hurt for like a year now or whatever. I think she's coming back soon. She was phenomenal in the NWA. And when the pandemic was going, it was Thunder Rosa who kept the NWA alive in my, estimation. She stole the show before Camille stole the show.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take the, there's way more, as we've said, male wrestlers than there are female wrestlers. And if you look at the overall scope of women's wrestlers beyond her, and I'd add Kenzie to that mix. Kenzie's really interesting and exciting too. There aren't any other talents among the women's roster because it's not big enough. that, that equal the men's rosters to me. Like,
Right.
I do not want to see a pay-per-view with 7 or 8 women's matches on it. And I'm not misogynistic in any way. It's just that there aren't, 14 or 16 women's wrestlers that can hold 7 or 8 matches.
That's true.
And and I think part of that is just that there's a lot fewer just by gender naturally, and then you have the geography about where the promotion is stationed, and are they going to come in and like they've got to travel around like the guys do. And you mentioned all the other promotions, including some female-centric talent promotions. And you're not wrong. But yeah, I just, for me, I don't want to see, I would not be interested in seeing that half of a pay-per-view but I was the guy who said a couple of years ago, Empower is the most important pay-per-view potentially in pro wrestling this year. And it wasn't. And Unfortunately, it was good, and then for me, it died when it didn't happen again. When Billy said, "That's it." I don't know, Dave. Be the tiebreaker. Is Jeremy on to something?
Well, I mean, pay-per-view wise, I see what you're saying, but power wise, if they're going to have 5 matches, at least have 2 of them centered around the females, or at least have segments featuring the females. Whether it may be a full match, make it a tag match, but then have a couple interviews of, hey, we lost that match. Next week, I want a rematch.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep the stories going, because I mean, the women's division, while small, is a very good division, but there's too many pieces to be put together for all the women's titles, all the men's titles, all the tag titles. It's just, it's almost like an Oprah. You get a title, you get a title, you get a title. Maybe it's time to back up. Have the TV titles. I wouldn't have them on the pay-per-view. Granted, I know you want to feature your talent, but maybe your junior heavyweight, your 2 TV titles, and your US tag titles, those are always defended on Power.
Right.
Then you have every once in a while, you'll have a contenders match for a pay-per-view match for a title that's on the undercard. But looking at it, keep the TV titles off of any and all pay-per-views. Make them special to the TV show, to Power, and also have your contenders matches on there with your talent out there watching the match. Have them join the broadcast team and just say, okay, let's see, Mims is out there. Okay, who's going to be my next opponent next week between wrestler A and wrestler B? It's one of these things of, they need to figure out how to tell stories without telling a story.
Right. Yeah.
That they have so many belts. Use your social media. I mean, Joe Alonzo, I may not like all of his stuff he does, but he gets my attention.
He sure does.
My eyes are shaking my head.
Which is why I think he'll be involved in one of the only 2 title changes that I'm predicting at Samhain.
Yep.
This I think it's Joe Alonzo's time. I think it's finally come. But yeah, you're right. You can use the limited amount of female talent you've got without titles and still add segments in and still make them interesting and important and valuable. Sometimes less is more, especially when you have less talent of that gender. So yeah, let's go back to this thing here. Isn't Roxy from Booker T's promotion Reality of Wrestling? I believe she is. Well, she's good. She's a decent wrestler as well. No complaints. Mike said WWE had 3 women's matches on their Halloween Havoc. The Becky match sucked. But if you're going to have women matches, the women have to be good, not just look hot. I agree. One of my favorite wrestlers, top 5 easily. NWA wrestlers overall, regardless of gender, 2 of them, potentially 3 out of those 5 are female. With Camille and Kenzie, and just because there's in my example here, there's no they gender. I would put Max in that category. I love Max the Impaler. Big fan. Noob says WWE, AEW, TNA, and ROH aren't women focused, but Stardom and WoW are 100%. And it was really interesting to me to learn a couple of weeks ago that WoW draws in a bigger audience than Impact. Like my jaw went, really? Yeah, they have a significantly bigger draw than Impact does right now.
I just saw that they come on at 11 o'clock on Friday night on one of my antenna channels.
Nice.
Yeah.
We that's great. I'd watch it. I don't have time to watch everything that we'd like to watch, but we talked about the Empower pay-per-view. I thought it was a great idea. I thought it was executed well. We heard some comments that maybe were misconstrued, maybe not, about why it didn't return.
Yeah.
But I thought it was very important at the time, and I felt that it lost some importance when it didn't get renewed the following year. But this is a business that centers around making money, and maybe it didn't draw like it should have. As I recall, it was a night 1 of an event, was it not? It was a 2-night event, or was it night 1 of a? Oh, I'd have to look that up.
It was night 2.
Night 2
of a pay-per-view weekend.
Okay. That's right. I just don't remember which pay-per-view, but Natalia Markova, Noob says, put on some awesome matches, and even though she's not champion in the NWA, she's still a star regardless of gender. She's a star for sure. She's very popular.
Yep.
Talented wrestler, a bit of a victim, I feel, of the Camille Brickhouse era.
Yeah.
I feel like if there hadn't been a Camille, we would have had Kenzie taking on NWA Women's World Champion Natalia Markova. But there's so many talented names that you could say throughout history where that's been the case, right? Like Roddy Piper was never world champion. Not that you ever had to put the belt on Roddy, but you kind of felt like maybe if Ric Flair hadn't been standing there, or Hulk Hogan, you would have had yourself a hot rod as world champ for at least one run.
Yeah,
I would have loved that.
Mike said, talking about Empower, it was one of the worst NWA pay-per-view statistically that they have done. Hardly drew anything. I don't question that is the case, but I'd love to know. Again, not suggesting that you're wrong, but I'd love to know where you got your buy rate information from, because they don't have that stuff on WrestleNomics for the NWA. I'd love to know. Throw it up if you've got it. Jay's here. Ella Envy. I'm a huge Ella Envy fan.
No.
Really? If Jaden were here, he'd say you have a type, Jay. It was the 73rd anniversary show that was partnered with Empower. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's right.
Yeah. Isn't there an NWA pay-per-view in November? What are we in now? October?
I don't know.
I'm not sure what the next one is.
No, I believe there's 2 tapings in November.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about December, but Kyle was talking about a January pay-per-view. So I don't know if they're going to do a new one or if they're going to have Hard Times. It'd be what, Hard Times 4?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they can just figure out 3 to 5 good pay-per-views and you have your 2 doubles, which would be Crockett Cup and your anniversary show, have 3 or 4 others. If you can have 5 to 6 good pay-per-views, just do that. Don't overwhelm the market with a monthly pay-per-view. Just do some good tapings. And like I had mentioned before, it's not going to be really a pay-per-view, but do like WWF did back in the day when they did the In Your House. Have something special in between these pay-per-views, but have it in a good market or a newer market to try and build off of.
Right. Couldn't agree more. I read this and I went, Mike said, I don't have buy rate info or suck as you stated. And I'm like, I told Mike he sucked. I would never say that. But no, that's a typo. Such as stated. But it's strongly speculated that under 300 buys were purchased on Fight for the Empower pay-per-view. Wow. Okay. Well, good to know. I mean, it has to be worthwhile. It has to make money.
Yeah.
Noob says, I don't blame the booking, but at least Billy Corgan is making a star out of her from being on the stage of Smashing Pumpkins in their concerts. That's Natalia Markova. Yeah. She's super talented. You know, I know that for me, just being a fan more than anything else for around, that's all I am in terms of pro wrestling is I forget sometimes that when we go, man, Camille is just incredible. Like she really puts on a show. She crushed Max. You know, she's beaten Kenzie. She had matches with Markova. With Thunder Rosa. Like pick a name, and she's had these incredible matches. That it takes as much to spear somebody in that dance off of the edge of the ring at 75 as it does to take that spear through the table onto that concrete. Like Natalia was 50% of that match, especially, right? So, yeah, I know. The Reluchador says Natalia looks great getting a keyboard across the face. Loved her in that moment. I still have 3 keys from that match that Ebon gave to me. I should maybe make a. I tried to get Control Alt Delete because I thought that would be a good thing there. Lou came up with that. He said try to get that, but I couldn't get them all. Mike agrees with her there. The P&P connection from last night. Dave, what do you think about the possibility in the new year of Jeremiah Plunkett, friend of the Alliance, and Mario Pardua teaming up as a team for however long?
I mean, why not? They're both good wrestlers. I mean, you know what Plunkett can do. Mario has good size to him, and I mean, some of the moves I saw for a bigger guy, I'm just like, holy crap.
Yeah.
It's one of those that you can use those guys to either work with the younger talent, and I'm not sure how long Pardua has been wrestling, but I mean, he seems to do pretty well for himself. I saw him back at 312 in a couple matches, and he really impressed me. And putting him with Plunkett, somebody who knows the ropes, they can either work as an enhancement team or work with a younger team. I mean, it's a win-win for them. Plus, it's somebody that you can identify with. They are, quote unquote, the underdog team.
Right.
It's one of those things that Plunkett was left in the dust. Ill Begotten is no more, so he's basically been left. Danny's doing his thing at the announce table, Alex moved on. Why not? I mean, they're both good to great wrestlers for what they do. Give them a chance to shine.
Yeah, Mike apparently not a fan there. That's a little harsh. They make them look like a team. They act like oil and water. So I'd agree. Jeremy, I agree with that part of it. I think if you were to present them as Jeremiah Plunkett, mentor, wrestling coach, which he's both of those things, experienced, NWA Saw TV champion, whatever, NWA Australian champion. Well, because we're going back to the territories, if you were to say he's been everywhere, he's done these things, he's the brains of this operation, and he's also dropping down to be, a junior heavyweight. That's his goal. He wants to be under 225, right? And he's the mind here. And Mario Pardua, he's the brains, or the brawn, the brains. Apparently, I'm not the brains. So he's the brawn. He's the guy with all of the body and the speed and the energy. I think if you were to package him that way, give him some kind of matching gear, give him a good name, you got a good team here. What do you think?
I think if I got to agree with that. If it was packaged more that way, I think it would be, it would connect with me a little bit better. I love Jeremiah Plunkett, friend of the show. Great wrestler, great mind for the business. And from what I've seen of Pardua, solid, good talent. But yeah, it definitely needs to be packaged differently. It's just not connecting with me right now.
Yeah, hope this doesn't sound terrible, but like the fact that his name is Mario Pardua is not wrestling success adjacent. Look, neither is Tim Wood. It's not a wrestling name. I just don't think the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels would have done as well if he were Michael Hinklebottom.
Yeah.
Oh, that you don't think that trying to squeeze Hinklebottom onto his shirt wouldn't have just sold fucking gangbusters? You can't come up with a design that could fit that name on there?
I'm just saying, like, if he had been, I don't know, if Mario Pardua had been Tim Storm, I'm just making a generic name up out of there, then I think there's greater success in his future. Anyway, it sounds like Purdue chicken. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think there's a little bit of repackaging. You could have something there, but Jeremiah Plunkett could tag with a watermelon, and I'd watch the hell out of that stuff.
Yeah.
Would you guys think? What you think, Dave? Out of the Knox and Murdoch promo, where last night, where Mike Knox, who thank God finally gave him like a microphone and somewhere where he can just be funny, because his whole bit. I'd like to apologize to my neighbor Ken. Yeah. I thought it was funny. I thought it was a good promo. What did you think?
It's showing a different side of Mike Knox. And I mean, you put those guys together, I mean, they're a scary duo.
Yeah.
And I mean, them being Crockett Cup winners and going for the tag belts, that's all fine and dandy, but it's one of these things of, Trevor is the serious type. But Mike Knox, he's serious, and then every once in a while, he just cracks that little grin and just spouts off something that you're like, what are you talking about? He's having fun. And it's one of those things of outside the ring, you can be serious and all, but make it serious and make it mean something when you're in the ring. Right. When you're outside the ring, you can go left, right, up, down, wherever.
Right.
But make it count when it's in the ring. But outside the ring, just have fun.
It kind of, yeah.
It's just a different side of Knox. And I like what I'm seeing.
Nobody has benefited more in the NWA of being paired with somebody than Mike Knox with Trevor Murdoch. And I love the way they are together, Jeremy, when it's like, Knox kind of reminds me, Knox and Murdoch kind of remind me of Anvil and Hitman. Like when Anvil would do his promos and he'd be like, he's just crazy. And like Dave was saying, he'd get in the ring and he'd spine buster the shit out of you, right? But I love the way like Trevor Murdoch will be standing like side camera and he doesn't break, face. And then he just waits for his turn. And then he, without even saying anything or making a comment about how Mike Knox has been kicked out of his homeowners association, he just turns around and does his, like, you're about to get your, like, a size 15 boot up your butt there, sunshine, stuff. I don't know. I thought the promo was great. What'd you think?
I laughed my ass off at it. It was hilarious, and then they ended it serious with Trevor pulling out his best fucking Harley impersonation. Week after week, the more that we get to hear and hear him on the mic and see him in the ring, we're watching Trevor Murdoch turn into Harley Race.
Yep. And ain't nothing wrong with that, right?
Not at one bit. And I'm glad to be here for it.
Yeah, well said, man. One of my favorite promos of all time, guys, way up there, is just a 70s promo with Harley sitting at the side of the ring holding 10 pounds of gold. It's like 45 seconds long, and he's like, I'm Harley Race. I'm the world's heavyweight champion. I don't care who you are or what you say until you've had this. You're not worth you're not good enough to shine my shoes. Cut.
Yep.
That was it. I can't even do it. Right? Like, I can't do it. I can't be Harley, but that was the presentation. Harley pulled that off, and Trevor, you're right, man. He sounds just like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuzzy's here. He's driving, but listening. That's good. Glad you're not watching and driving.
Right.
Yep.
Appreciate that. What did you guys think? What did you guys think, Dave? I'll start with you about the I'm going to use the air quotes, the post-match promos. So, like, Ruthie J had a match on Power, and then they go to Sam Laterna. By the way, I will miss you, Sam. I imagine that she's probably going to be gone now that oh my God.
May,
pardon?
May Valentine.
May, thank you. Love May too. That if May's back, I imagine there's probably enough room for Sam, but she did a great job while May was away. What did you think of, like, Ruthie J would come back and she's rubbing her neck and like, what a tough competitor. What did you think of the aftermath promos? Did you think they were good?
I actually liked it. It kept the storyline going of the match. It's one of these things of, if you notice during Power, when they go from after a match or before a match into a commercial, unless it's Joe and Danny Deals sending it away, it's always Kyle. So having Sam or May do these backstage interviews after a match, it's a good thing. It continues the storyline, because Ruthie J is actually going for the Burke. So It's one of these things of, okay, we're getting a little, I'm not going to say a little history lesson, but we're getting a glimpse into what that wrestler is thinking when they do these backstage interviews.
Right.
That it's either they're saying what they're going to do or what they went through, and it makes them more human. It's more believable. It tells the story when she goes, yeah, that was a rough one out there. It's just it keeps the story going without actual action.
I thought it was a good idea too. There's a couple things I would have changed, guys, and one of them was, if you're going to do it, And I know this sounds weird because it like maybe filming doesn't just do it that way, but either do it right after the match, like do it when they are legitimately breathless, where you can see like where you could have Ruthie J like, like wow, what a fight that was, or like as silly as this sounds, have somebody with a mister, just like all right, here's some sweat, man, because like she came in completely like hair perfect, and I'm picking on her. I love the idea of the promo, Jeremy, but I didn't think it was executed entirely properly. Like Mike said, super edited as well. What did you think?
Super edited. It's too UFC for me. I think it should only be done for title matches.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And then only to the winner.
Right. Or to the person who in the match is, even if you're losing, is using that as the springboard to go into somewhere new, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it was interesting, and it was new, and it was different. Noob says Natalia Markova and Taylor Rising didn't get any screen time ever since that number one contender match a few weeks ago. I hope that they'll be on Saturday. We're going to go in a minute to do our picks, or I'm going to do mine. You guys are going to do yours tomorrow, like by and large. Welcome to do yours at the same time. But one last thing from Power, which I imagine you guys will talk about tomorrow night, match by match as well, because it's going off in the Discord, and people seem to see different things. I don't know, Dave. Does Samantha Starr have is she growing enough? Does she have a future in the NWA?
I believe she could have a future, but right now it's almost like her wheels are spinning, but she's not going anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
She seems, I don't know, she seems lost. She's just a wrestler that they can put in against basically anybody to take a loss.
Right.
But it's one of these things, they need to decide what they want to do. I know they're featuring her because she is the daughter of Baby Doll and history and legacy and all. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
Carrie is working, but I don't see a second or third generation. It doesn't always have to be. It's one of these things of you look at some of the wrestlers and go, okay, you're not your mom or dad. You're not your grandfather. The name doesn't make you. You make you.
Right.
So it's one of these things of I'd give her a break. And giving her a break is maybe not have her at the next set of tapings. She's going to be at the next pay-per-view, but does she need to be at the tapings? Let's give her 1 or 2 cycles off, give her a chance to work elsewhere, and prove herself that she is worthy of coming back and doing something in the NWA.
Unless she wins at like the number one contender match.
Yeah.
Jeremy, Mike said she ought to be billed huge, but she's another Barry Horowitz. But I kind of agree. They could be saying, Jer, like she could be doing interviews where she's like, my mom's Baby Doll. I'm related to Sam goddamn Houston. Jake the Snake fucking Roberts taught me the DDT. I'm Samantha Starr. Like that, she might be better as a heel than a baby face. Like, give her something.
I think she's plateaued with the NWA for the moment. I agree with Scooby. They need to give her a cycle or 2 off and send her to Cleveland. Send her to Exodus Pro. Let her work there for a cycle or 2. and come back possibly with a new gimmick. And coming back as a heel would be a great way to repackage her, reintroduce her, and it's the natural. It would be her natural progression as well for her. You know, she's been the baby face now. It's not really working, so let's do that heel thing. And she has like you said, she has a lot that she can lean on and lean into. You know, the family legacy alone right there is enough.
Fuzzy and I were talking about, just in a brief interaction today on the Discord, about how, you know, some of our kayfabe moments are around Ricky Steamboat. And when I was a kid, you know, I didn't know Jake the Snake Roberts from anything, when just being up here in Canada, until he showed up in WWE and DDT'd Ricky Steamboat on the floor. And like, I thought Ricky was dead. You know, and you do something like that with Samantha Starr showing up somewhere, maybe Exodus Pro, maybe you got something.
Yep.
What does Mike say here? Listen, you know, NWA is going to be in coming months recycling talent as well as weeding out whom they don't need. I agree. I think that's going to have to be something that happens perfectly. Maybe we'll get into that next week. Samantha Starr, Noob says, and Kerry Morton are perfect for WWE since they have a thing for pushing generation wrestlers. I mean, look at Lexus King. He's a star. I don't know that either one of those guys are WWE ready, but I love that they are who they are and they're well on their way, and that's why they're in a place like this. Maybe Impact ready.
Yeah, but WWE does have that fancy little performance center that they can send them through before they throw them in front of a camera.
That is true. Listen, we already kind of touched on the Vampiro Violent J interaction, but Jeremy, I think you were the one who told me about it last night and on the Discord, and I think it was you, right? Who said, like, go to what was the time? 25 minutes or something like that?
29 minutes, and they went almost back and forth almost 15 minutes.
So look up, if you're not already a fan, for all you guys and girls out there who are watching, look up This Is the NWA podcast with our friend Gary Horn at the helm. Does it with Joe Galley and Kyle Davis and Danny Deals. They had Scott Wheeler with them last night as well. And they had Violent J came on at 29 minutes, he said.
He was on there before that. Vampiro came in at about 29 minutes.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, Gary does an amazing show. He does the show for the NWA, like the NWA sanctioned podcast. Violent J's on the show. He's a guest. And as Gary kind of, was watching in horror almost, Vampiro came onto the show, and the exchange that they had was so visceral that it clouded the lines in a way between wrestling and reality. One of those ways that legitimately make you go, is there some heat here? Like,
did they work themselves into a shoot, brother?
Yeah, it's exactly that. Like, they're both going, I'm so sorry for talking like this, but MFer. And like, I'm sure Gary just thought it was going to be a couple of F-bombs. They went off for like 15 minutes on each other about things that they had done and not done for each other in the past. And it was a train wreck.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was an interesting train wreck. But you could see all the guys at the bottom of the screen who weren't involved, as they were just screaming at each other. Like they were all like this is happening right now. Nobody expected it. And I felt like it was one of the best uses of, though it was organic to our understanding, it was one of the best uses of social media or a live stream that I've seen in a long time.
Yep.
Yeah. Definitely was.
Unscripted. Here's two guys, Gary has said he didn't even know one was going to come on.
Yeah.
just got texted, let me on the show. And where you sometimes get oh, you talked about my family? Well, I'm going to talk about your inability to wrestle well. And it goes back and forth. This was just, go and watch it, guys. Like, take it from us. I think it's worth the watching. It's always worth watching that particular live stream. But I thought that was like just jaw-droppingly different and surprising.
Yeah, yeah. I was a little taken aback by it, and I was searching for the line, and it was getting very, very blurry.
It was,
yeah. But it was interesting, to say the least. That's why I had to I had to bring it to you guys' attention.
Yeah,
it was really interesting too, Dave, because of the platform. This was the NWA's official live stream. If it had happened here, I mean, we don't work for the National Wrestling Alliance, and we're not held to any kind of particular standards. But I don't think that they broke any standards per se. But it just, I can't go as an employee of the company that I happen to work for and say things on their platform that that might not be consistent with the values of the company I work for, right? And I know this is pro wrestling and it's a bit of a different animal, but on that platform made it even more
Well, I mean, some of the best storylines in all of wrestling are based on reality. And it's one of these things of, they can talk and talk and talk, but if there was actual footage of old Juggalo wrestling and the Brothers of Construction, it'd be nice to put together maybe a 2-minute montage of the history of what this is.
Right.
But it's one of these things of, they're just letting it fly.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, no harm, no foul. If one guy's going to talk shit, let the other guy talk shit.
Yep.
So it's one of these things of, we'll see what becomes of the riddle me this and the riddle boxes and all that. But it has a good story. It just needs to be told that we're not in on everything that's happened, but we're in on it enough that I'm actually invested in this storyline, even though there's no titles or anything up for grabs. It's just, it's a match that was taken from one wrestling organization to another, to another, to another. And hopefully there'll be a finish to it. If not, we continue the story somewhere.
I really thought too, it was a great example of what could be done with almost anybody in any kind of live stream. Theirs, ours, anything else. If you had Trevor Murdoch on the live stream and he was sitting there, like, oh my God, Trevor Murdoch's joining the show and he's going to talk to, Aaron Stevens or whatever. And if he were there going, instead of the kind of the regular flow and cadence, if he were just going off and just, saying the kind of stuff that Trevor Murdoch can say, against the kind of stuff that Aaron Stevens can say, that'd just be equally compelling. If we just kind of broke that particular mold that wrestling uses and do more stuff like this down the road in sparing situations where it really can matter with the people who can really talk, like Vampiro and Violent J really can. I think that's worth something too. Mike says, riddle me this. Will the NWA get more than 500 buys on the Fight app? Well, I don't know. I want to talk about Sam Hain because we're gonna do I'll do my pick. You guys can decide if you want to do yours tonight or not. But I am not thrilled. I've said this for a few weeks, and I hate to be critical because I want to be thrilled by the NWA Sam Sawin pay-per-view. Joe Galley got it wrong this week. He said Sam Hain. He's like, from the Sawin pay-per-view. I really want to love it. I don't love it. There's not enough matches. I don't know that there's any matches that entirely grab me the way that it 75 or Crockett Cup or Hard Times, one of those match pay-per-views in the past has done. Kerry and Barrett Brown did pretty good on social media. That's a great example. Thanks, Fuzzy. It hasn't grabbed me. None of the matches I don't think has grabbed me. So will there be 500 buys? I've been talking about this with the Reluchador, and I'm not, and with you guys too. I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to buy the pay-per-view this time around. And, we review this stuff. And for the first time in a long, long time, I'm like, I'm not positive I'm into it this time around. How about you guys?
I'm still debating it. I'm not sure yet. I
liked your answer. I'm sorry to cut you out. I liked your answer earlier, though, when we were talking about it, where you said you're not sure about that, but if I don't, I'll probably spend that money in NWA merch because you're still into the product or the company.
Yeah.
But this event,
I don't want to spend $25 on something that I only want to see. I really only want to see 2 matches on, and even then, one of those matches, I don't want to see that style of match. I want to see how the Brothers of Construction and La Rebellion with Violent J and Vampiro plays out. I don't want to see that match though.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the EC3 Tom Latimer match. Those are the 2 that I personally want to see, but I don't want to spend $25 on that for something that once it's over, it's over. We'll talk about it next week, but then that'll be the end of it. Whereas if I take my $25 and I send it to Danny Deals, I'll get something in a garbage bag in 4 weeks.
Yeah, you were talking to Mike.
That was for you, Mike.
Now, Dave, you're going to the event, and out of the 3 of us here, probably amongst the entire alliance, actually, I don't think it's even probably, you see the most shows. NWA and MLW, I know are both big ones for you as well.
Yep.
So you're going over to Cleveland. You're going to go see this show. How is your excitement level?
I'm excited to see the NWA put on a show in a new place, but it's one of these things. It's a all new build-up with all new champions.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you sort of know what to expect at an anniversary show and Pocket Cup. This is something new. There's probably 3 to 4 matches that I'm excited to see. The others, I'm intrigued to see how they pull them off. But it's one of these things. It's the NWA is on a learning curve, and anytime they've done a pay-per-view, 9 out of 10 times, it's good.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's good. It tells a story. I'm just hoping that they continue, and then a week after they have tapings. So we'll see what happens with all these belts on the line and all these feuds going. It's one of these things of almost hurry up and wait. That it's been just about 2 months since 75. There's been build, but I think there could have been a better build. But you're promoting something that's never been done before. So I'm not sure they know what to do or how to do it without giving away spoilers.
Right.
It's one of these things of, okay, hey, I'm looking forward to the EC3 and Tom Latimer match. But if Tom loses, what's left? I'm looking at, there has to be outside interference somehow, and a DQ finish somehow so this story can continue. Because if not, Tom's left high and dry. I mean, same thing with Blunt Force Trauma and Murnox.
That has to end.
Yeah. It's Murnox
But how? Yeah.
win, or I mean, they've gotten Blunt Force Trauma over enough that if they lose, they have a rematch. They have a rematch clause come February at the next pay-per-view.
Right.
Let them beat up on some teams, break up some teams, and get them ready for that January pay-per-view.
Well, I think you're very. It's very pragmatic to look at it, and I hadn't thought about it that it's brand new. Now, this hasn't been done in the NWA before, so like, hurry up and wait. Like, let's wait and see, right? I think that's a great way to look at it going over there. And if it sucks, well, then you probably won't buy that again, or they probably won't run it again if it sucks. And I think that's a great way to look at it. But part of the thing is here. I'm going to put this from Mike. I think Mike's half right here. Regardless of the no blood issues with the state, this is not an impulsive buy, people. Nothing is worthwhile. This is a car salesman trying to sell you a Pinto by telling you it runs like a Cadillac. I think it's a car salesman. I think, everything in wrestling is every promoter is a car salesman. But I don't think he's like trying to tell me anything about it. And like, that's the problem. I don't know what a Knights of the Round Tables match is. If it's I swear to God, if it's a bunch of guys who come out in medieval armor and stand there, if it's a lumberjack match with guys in plate mail, I'm going to go take a piss. That's my bathroom break match. And I want to see that match. I don't want to see that match like that. So maybe I should try to be like more pragmatic, Dave, but they haven't told me what it is. And they haven't told me. I learned this today. Did you guys know that Silas Mason and Chris Adonis are fighting for the national title in a Burning Lake brawl?
I read that. I saw that whenever you put your predictions in our Discord, and I was like, "What in the hell is a burning lake?" And it wasn't the lake; it was the river. Look, man, I don't know. I looked up, I get all the matches. Wikipedia is not your friend, but it will give you for things a general overview. I pulled up all the matches, and whoever wrote the Wikipedia thing had some knowledge. It's a Burning Lake match. Yeah.
What does that mean?
How does that even work?
The Southern Six against the Headbangers in a rock and roll tag team match. Guys, this hasn't been sold to me. It's not a Cadillac or a Pinto. It hasn't. Just buy it if you want it.
It's a Ford Taurus. I don't know. It's not even a Ford Taurus. It's a head scratcher.
There's a car over there. You can see it.
Yeah.
Buy it if you want it. I don't know. It's so if they don't get over 500 pay-per-view buys, I mean, I would not be surprised if we don't see this again. But we'll see. Hey, you know what, Fuzzy? I've said this before on this show. He's so grounded after all of us in being a fanboy that I love it. He's honestly, when I see the stuff that he'll post up, it's just like, you got to remember to like just grab the popcorn, right? Grab the popcorn and enjoy. Like, it's just take it for what it is and have a good time, and there you go.
See, and that's the thing, because you brought up the Knights of the Round Table match, and how if there's like, they have lumberjacks that are in chainmail or something like that you're going to go take a piss. And that following Wednesday, I will come on here and I will take a shit all over.
Broadcasting live from the washroom. Jeremy. Just set up in your can. Just flush the toilet when you're done with the review. Yeah, I get it. You know what? Let's look at Sawin. I almost called it
Sam Hain.
Sam Hain, yes, thank you.
Sam Hain would be that fella in the middle of the picture.
That's right. This is Sam Hain. Jeremy, explain to everyone who this is on the thumbnail.
That is Australian cricketer Sam Hain.
That is amazing. Anyway. Here we go. Sawin. Here's your cover of it right here and all the great talent that will be involved in no particular order, but the order I think it might maybe go in. Here's a match you have that I don't understand, other than just that it is a way to put people in that they might want to not lose. You have Jordan Clearwater with the Country Gentlemen as his six-man tag team partners against Zion with the Outrunners as his six-man tag team partners. Head-shakingly booked. I don't even know what to say about that one, guys, but I have Zion and the Outrunners going over the Country Gentlemen and Jordan Clearwater. The reason I think that will happen is because they've done that little bit about how Jordan Clearwater, I should take off my glasses for this, a former UWN World Heavyweight Champion, is now the junior, I don't know anything about wrestling, protege to EC3. It's fine. It's a different company. I get it.
Can I just say that
please.
if I never hear EC3 call a grown man an over boy again, I'll be completely happy.
Yeah. Yeah. That better be on the pre-show. I'm sure it's on the pre-show.
Yep.
There you go. We can maybe get to this if we have time. Demonetize Jeremy. There you go.
Sorry, boss.
So I got the Outrunners and Zion going over. I won't bore you guys with my confidence points. I have no idea who's going to win this basically, but Zion and the Outrunners going over because Jordan Clearwater is not ready yet, and he's going to have to learn something out of this. That's the reason why, Zion and the youngest men who ever lived go over in this match. You guys got predictions, or are you going to save them?
I see Zion and the Outrunners coming out on top on this as well.
All
Even
right.
though I'd rather see the Outrunners paired up with Zicky Dice, but
yeah, that's a natural fit.
Especially if the Outrunners are going to be heels in the NWA.
The
Right.
Outlandish Runners.
Oh! Now, here's the question. On behalf of the NWA, Dave, can they have that for free? Or just want a little chat? You want a little taste?
Nah. I got no dog in the fight, so.
Okay. You got a pick?
I actually picked Jordan and the Gents.
Okay.
But I see where you guys are going, and with Zion coming unhinged in his last match against Adonis, I could see where they could go that way, give them a win, but they don't need a win, whereas the Gents are rebuilding, and Jordan is trying to up his value in being a protege to EC3. I really don't know how to call it. Either way, somebody gets over.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I do confidence points. I like to do that like Vegas does. There's 15 matches, so you can rate every match between 1 and 15. Like if you know somebody's going over, you give that one 15 points, right? And if you have no idea, you give it 1, and you can't use the same number twice. That's it.
yeah.
So for me, that was 3. I have no idea. I'm not that confident. But next up, we're going to have perhaps, oh boy, Judas Max the Impaler, Alex Misery, and Magic Inc., which is Cody James and Magic Jake Dumas, versus Sal the Pal, Gags the Gimp, Koa Laxamana, and Magnum Muscle, Dak Draper, and who's Dak Draper and Mims, in a Devil's Last Dance Ultimate Hardcore War. Woof. Just because I wanted to be over, no confidence really. I gave it 5 points out of my 15. I have Sal the Pal, Gags the Gimp, Koa Laxamana, and Magnum Muscle going over, but I could see a case made where Dak Draper just, even if they end up going over, just turns on Mims and he wants his title shot because this tag team's done. Dunzo. What do you guys think? What do you think, Jeremy?
Too much gaga.
Too much gaga. Yeah. You got a winner? Oh, he froze up. How about you, Dave? You got a winner?
I picked Sal's team as well.
Doesn't matter at the moment. There we go.
There you go. There you go.
No,
You
I
picked
don't have a
Sal's team?
pick on this one. If
All
I
right.
had to, though, probably Sal's team.
Okay. Dave, you picked Sal's team?
Pick Sal's team. Just the storyline has run its course. It needs to be just done. And I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Draper turn and go against Mims. That, hey, teammates are teammates, but you got gold and I want gold.
Too much caca. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I think is going to happen? I'll even call the finish right here. Mims steals the pin that Dak Draper had just out of opportunity, not out of any nefarious stuff. He pins Alex Misery in the match because nobody knows Alex Misery in the NWA. And Draper goes, what the hell? And they just kind of shove each other, and it's going to start something, whether or not they break then and there. I don't know. But that's how I see it ending.
I like that.
Hey, Rick. Good evening to Rick. Good to see you, my friend. Rick is doing some crazy stuff over there with WON. The PWZ is supporting. He's kind of pulling matches from all over the world and making little episodes that they're going to review. I really look forward to episode 1, Rick. What do we got next? What do we got next here, guys? Where is this? We have in a rock and roll tag team match. You have the Gigolo. God, it's hard to say. Gigolo, Alex Taylor, AT. I got to show you Jeremy rubbing his face. Oh, you missed it there. And Kerry Morton against the returning headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher. So I'll turn it over to you guys, but I got with 13 of my 15 possible confidence points. I got 13 of those confidence points on the Southern Six. They're going over. It's almost guaranteed. What do you think, Jeremy?
That's who I got going over. I think it'll be a good match. But yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't be going over.
Yeah. Dave?
Yeah, I mean, you got speed and youth over experience and size. While there is a difference amongst them, I think it'll help push the Southern Six, them getting a win. And I'm hoping that they keep the headbangers around at least for the next tapings, because it always helps to have an established team that people may know. They're not the biggest well-known team, but if you watched any and all WWF, WWE back in the 90s and early 2000s, you know who these guys are.
Yeah. Yeah.
If perchance, is it Mosh or is it Thrasher? I think it's Mosh. If he comes out as Beaver Cleavage, I change my vote.
Yeah.
I want them to win. Southern Six is winning, says Noob. Yeah, Rick, just before you came on, we were saying not a ton of interest really by anyone around this pay-per-view, but we might be there. Confidence points. Yeah, I'm confident. Mike says it's going to suck. I mean, I don't know about that, Mike, but we'll see. We'll see. Sometimes we've said that in the past, and we have to agree, as we do all the time, that by and large the NWA does a really good job at pay-per-views, and they really do deliver. Just at this time, they don't seem to be promising much.
Also on that though, in the past, they would be ending the seasons with some of the shittiest content that they had filmed. And so was it the fact that we were getting bad matches and we were just happy to see good wrestling again? And that's why we've gotten good matches all the way up until this, and now we're just kind of meh on the pay-per-view.
It's that whole reverse saltine cracker after crossing the desert thing, right?
Yeah.
We've had really good food. So, yeah, maybe we're not too big on the saltines. We got, did we both, wait a second here. So which one was next? You guys both got Southern Six on this one, right?
Yeah.
What's next? You got, okay. Matt Cardona returns to fight To Be Determined, one of the most active competitors in pro wrestling. I have Matt Cardona going over based solely upon the fact that this is what Matt Cardona seems to be doing lately. He shows up in MLW, they give him somebody, he beats them. He showed up at NWA 75, they fed him Ricky Morton, he ate. So while I could be wrong, with 10 of my 15 possible confidence points, I'm going to give it to Matt Cardona to go over. What do you say, Jeremy?
I'm giving the win to Rolando Freeman.
You're going to go with Rolando Freeman is going to be the guy who comes in. You're calling it.
I'm calling it.
And he's going over Cardona.
15 points.
15. I love it. I love it. How about you, Dave?
I mean, Cardona's a name. Who knows who they'll bring out? But if they're going to use him well. That I'm going to go with Cardona for the win, and I'll probably give him 8 points.
8 points. There you go. That's pretty good. What did I give it? 10? I gave it 10. So pretty close there. I actually thought this was the Reluchador. It was not. It was fuzzy. Remember how we thought 75 was going to suck and had no build up? Taking me to task there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're true. Jay Bradley for an opponent to Matt. You guys are all over how
Robert
awesome
Ego Anthony. Ooh.
Yeah, maybe Ego. Everybody seems to be so pro fixers in the Discord, and like break them up. They suck together. I just break them up. I got no love for either one of them right now.
I think Jay Bradley needs to go away, and his cousin Aiden O'Shea needs to come back out.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Took on Kerry at the pay-per-view. He took on Ricky, what, the Power before, or I don't, night one? I don't remember. One of those two. What do we got next? Oh, here we go. This one is this is pre-show actually. You've got Brady Pierce with Rolando Freeman as your special referee, and a loser leaves the NWA match against Freeman, Rush Freeman.
Yep.
Now, possibly because I haven't been paying attention, I may have this entirely wrong, but I am going to take potentially the underdog here, Rush Freeman, to go over Brady Pierce. Brady Pierce leaves the NWA. The story will be because Rolando decides blood is thicker than water and helps Rush get over. Fast count, whatever it's going to be. And the reason I think Brady Pierce, who has a bigger upside than Rush Freeman, is leaving is because of the movie, the Iron Claw movie, and maybe he might be needed elsewhere. What do you guys think? What do you think, Jeremy?
We talked about this in the Discord. I think Rush is going to lose just so he can come back in like a Midnight Rider gimmick.
Yeah, that's good. By the way, only 2 confidence points for me. What do you think, Dave?
I'd have him come back as Yellow Dog if he does lose. But I don't know. I mean, Brady Pierce, while he is in the movie, he's also, I believe, wrestling for Luke Hawks as well.
Oh, that's right. He's their champ, right? Yeah.
He's one of their champions. So it may be time, while I hate to see him leave with the movie coming up and they could push him as a star in the upcoming movie. Rush has been around since almost the beginning, since I think the second season. So, I mean, use him if you can. If Rush leaves, I say let Rolando go with him.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. I see the reason I think they're going to win beyond all that too is that I could see it like Rolando taking on kind of a manager's role where he tries something new every couple of every show. Maybe it's a new gimmick, it's a new it's a Road Warrior Rush, or it's
God,
Rock and Roll Rush, or it's he's got to get something. There's got to be something in there. I think you could have a lot of fun with Rush treatment that way.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny, Mike. I'll come back as a Nielsen ratings rep saying the match sucked. What I had 2 confidence points there. I don't know how that's going. My ear hasn't been especially close to the ground on any of this stuff. But next up, we have a 4-way match for the number 1 contender to the women's world title. You've got Samantha Starr versus Missa Kate versus Tiffany Neves. I'm saying it wrong, I know it. Versus Celeste, number 1 contender of the Women's World Championship. So, despite everything that was said earlier about maybe Samantha Starr needs to go away for a while, I have Samantha Starr going over in this match with 1 confidence point only, and that's because it's a 4-way match. My chances are limited. I think other than her, it's got to be Missa Kate. So I'm going to take Samantha Starr. She had that new gear a little while ago. She had a new look. Like she trimmed down. Looks like she's getting incrementally better. Time to feed her to Kenzie so that she can, maybe lose and then bow out and go to Exodus after that. What do you think, Dave? Who do you got for this one?
I have Tiffany.
Tiffany.
She is new to the NWA, but she is wrestling. She does Exodus Pro. She wrestled for them. Plus, she's also OVW.
Yep.
So people have seen her on TV, not wrestling a lot, but she's a new face. And she would be someone that a storyline could be told with her going after the women's title, whether it be at the NWA or, again, at Exodus Pro. That if she wins, you automatically have a rematch up there with your women's champion, whoever that may be. If it's still Kenzie can then go represent the NWA at the new territory in a title match.
Right. Good reasoning. Wish I'd thought of that. Jeremy, what do you think?
It's a toss-up for me between Samantha Starr and Missa Kate.
Yeah. Fuzzy says Tiffany takeover and title mixing with OVW as a territory in Marchish is my prediction. Interesting.
Okay.
Nice. What do we got next? Let me just pull this up here. We had yes. Okay, in one of the only 2 title changes I believe will happen on this pay-per-view, I have the Immortals, Kratos and Odinson, going over Talos and Daisy Kill, new U.S. Tag Team Champions. I feel like it's because Talos and Kill, which are they're fine. I like the big dog, little dog combo. One of them's a mouth, the other one's 7'19". Like he's massive. It just hasn't grabbed me. I kind of using myself as the barometer. I think it's time. It's time for Kratos and Odinson to do some domination. What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, definitely. That's who I want to win. I like Daisy and Talos, but it's kind of wearing off. And Kratos and Odinson, I think it's the right time.
Dave, I got 9 of my 15 confidence points in this one. What are you thinking for winners here?
I got 8, and I'm going for the Immortals. It's just I guess it's just time for a change. Nothing against Daisy and Talos. They just aren't there quite yet.
Yeah, that's what Fuzzy says. Ready for an Immortals run, and Talos isn't quite ready. Noob says the Immortals, and Mike says Talos and Kill retain. He sees issues with Kratos and Odinson. Okay. Who else we got? We have the Brothers of Funstruction with Violent J versus La Rebellion with Vampiro. And where is that? With 4 of my confidence points. Not quite sure where this one's going to go. I have the Brothers of Funstruction going over, and I think we'll see La Rebellion leave the NWA for a little while. What do you think, Jeremy?
I agree with you on that one. I see them going back to AAA for a little bit and kind of spreading their wings down there for a while.
Yeah, I think you're right. And by the way, not only nothing against them, they are the best tag team of the Lightning One era, La Rebellion, and it's just, can't miss you if you won't go away, as Cornette used to say. What do you think, Dave?
I'm going with the Brothers of Funstruction. It's just it's time for a break. They've done all that they can do with La Rebellion. Just freshen them up. Let them go elsewhere and fight a couple other teams, then bring them back at Crockett Cup with a couple other teams from AAA and let them continue the fight.
I wonder what it was that the special formula that the Briscoes had, that they were going to make a number up, like 15-time ROH World Tag Team Champions or whatever it was, that they never got old there. They just kept doing that. I know there was a world title win or 2 in there for one of them, but I wonder what that magic formula was that they had, that they didn't seem to go away for very long. They just stayed and they just dominated. I don't know. It just came to me now, but what else we got here? Pretty Empowered defend the Women's World Tag Team Championship against Markova and Rising. I have this here. I have with 7 of my 15 confidence points. I have Pretty Empowered retaining versus Markova and Rising. What do you think, Dave?
I have I have Pretty Empowered going over with, now that Roxy is back, she goes to interfere and it backfires. But I mean, they just need to continue either building up a couple teams within the NWA or bring in outside teams for the tapings and build them up for the pay-per-views.
Right.
One of these things, I give them, on this, I gave them a 9.
9, okay. I had 7 for that. Jeremy, what do you think of this one? Who do you got?
I after thinking about it, I see Markova and Rising getting it just because it's time to put a belt, some sort of title on Markova. I see Roxy coming out and interfering and it costing Pretty Empowered, and then that leading to story down the road.
Yeah, I think there's some value too in having just speaking opposite to that, having Kenzie Page holding her world women's up as they hold up their world tag, and that they continue to be the dominant women's group. But
yeah,
I'm 50% at least wrong most of the time. So everything about this gimmick match, this will be the clowns match, scares me as crappy, but I feel it'll be a top match after all is said and done. Okay, here's hoping.
Okay.
The Briscoes magic, Mike said Briscoes had a persona. They lost. They rallied people behind them. They rallied people behind them, got the titles back. Repeat. La Rebellion is, I think he means dead, sorry to say. If they disappeared next week, nobody would ask of them. Yeah, I mean, I get that. It's just they've been around too long.
Yeah.
It's Markova's time, Fuzzy says. Noob says Pretty Empower's going over. Like I said, what is Natalia Markova's future in the NWA? I still think there's a run for her as a world champion down the road, but we'll see. Yeah, so much story to tell with Pretty Empower imploding. Fuzzy says so. There you go. There's your picks for that, and then we have a match I don't care about, which is not the fault of either one of these two fine talents. You have the Thrillbilly Silas Mason defending the National Heavyweight Championship against Sexy Jesus, Chris Adonis, who here is doing his best impersonation of a cleaning woman with his bandana. Listen.
God damn it. I wasn't going to say it.
We need more lemon pledge. That should be someone, Dave. Can you bring that side to ringside? Hold it up for Adonis. We need more lemon pledge. Anyway,
do not be sitting around polka dot Pim if you have that sign.
That's true. She'll rip it up. I don't care about it because I don't know what a Burning Lake or Brawl is, and there's been no real build. I also don't care about it because I don't care about the national title. Just what has happened to the national title has made it worthless to me. It needs a long period with Thrillbilly beating the crap out of everybody to make it worthwhile for me. Again, but I do have Silas Mason going over with 8 of my confidence points. Jeremy, what do you think?
Yeah, I've got him going over in this one as well. Like you said, there's no real build up to it. He gave a pretty impassioned promo about it last night, but when doesn't he? You know, that's the one thing you can't count on with Thrillbilly is he's going to give you one hell of a promo. I think the match will be good overall, but I'm not invested in it.
There just hasn't been anything to invest in. Yeah, Fuzzy says I can't can't watch another Master Lock struggle.
Yeah.
Dave, what do you think about this one?
I got Thrillbilly retaining. It's just, I mean, Adonis is a very good wrestler. It's just they just don't seem to know what to do with him. They just plug him in, that he fills the spot when needed. They need to give him a good run or something. It's just to me it's frustrating, and I mean he's I think 40 years old. Mm-hmm. He's had quite a run already, but it's one of these things of he could be doing so much more, but it all depends on the booking. And if they're going to push Thrillbilly, they need to push him hard. And like you said, have him just destroy anybody and everybody. I wouldn't have him have a match go more than 5 minutes. If you're not going to do a 5 count with Max, do a 5 count with him.
Right.
Make it mean something.
Guys, I don't know what happened to my Jack Stain versus Blake Troop thing there. It doesn't seem to be here anymore, but they are going into a submission match. Let me just get this.
It went lights out.
Oh. That should be that should be the most violent match, and it just loser has to hear the other one do a promo. No,
oh God, no! We all lose on that one.
Actually, Jax isn't that bad. Well, anyway, national title since being on Thrilly is nothing now. No story or follow up with Pollo. No meaningful making of a feud leading to Adonis. No in ring promo or heat before the pay per view. You can't disagree. He has no personality, edge, persona, angle. Who are we talking about right now, Fuzzy? Seems like a decent guy, but what's his gimmick?
Masters possibly.
Troop? Yeah.
Adonis or Troop?
I think Troop. I apologize. I don't know what happened to the banner for that, but look, this is a submission match. Oh, Chris Adonis. My apologies.
Okay.
So, as much as I think this should be kind of a no-brainer the way everything has been presented, I do have Blake Troop going over Jack Stain with 12 of my 15 confidence points. And this is because he is a submission-trained MMA wrestler. And if he loses this match,
he's done.
That's it, right? I don't care anymore. Just go over there and stand beside Rush Freeman because that's who you need to be with. So that's it. Jeremy, what do you think?
That's exactly why I want him to lose. The guy is boring as all get out. His catchphrase is way overdone. And he sounds he does I don't believe him when he says any of the shit that comes out of his mouth. When he comes out there with those big goofy medals that he's won for all those things and they're clanking together, it sounds horrible. They don't it looks stupid. You're coming out there and you're looking like a 6'4" fucking Flavor Flav without the ability to speak or get hype. You know, I want Jax to win this one.
Okay, Dave.
I have Troop winning, but with interference from Chris Silvio.
Right. And I think Jax goes out. Like, I don't think he taps. I think he goes out. Lights out. I mean, it's just they figured it out finally. Like, and the proof was in this past Power with Odinson when they just took the mic away from him and they put him with Kratos, and Kratos can just talk his ass off. And I said to Raluca, I go, okay, please don't give the mic to Odinson. And Kratos just turned to him and they just went and they walked out because Odinson doesn't need to be on the mic. And Blake Troop doesn't need to be on the mic. You know, that's why you got Chris Silvio, because Chris Silvio can, talk you into buying a used car. So
I like what Media Mike says here, though.
Yeah. I hate to say this. Troop loses due to Silvio blundering, causing Jax to win. Troop shouldn't talk. His one-liner is dumb. It's the worst timing when said. Yeah. It's all he ever says, the same three things.
Yep.
Lose here, he said, Adonis is drawing pain. He bores me stupid. Matthew Underwood agrees. Doesn't get the appeal of him at all.
Unfortunately, it's true though. He doesn't have a gimmick or anything right now. He's just Chris Adonis.
I do remember Thunder Rosa's video MMA video package. I also remember when she's not especially great on the mic either. She isn't. But there was something about Thunder Rosa in like the way she presented herself in the ring. Like even
the way that they presented her, even.
Yeah, that's right. When she even in her last match, I still remember when she couldn't get it back from Camille and she laid on the match, but she didn't give up and she just flipped the bird. Like I still remember it. It was a great presentation. Anyway, Fuzzy says, yep, my main criticisms of promos lately is that they take the weakest guy for the outro, which is why I popped for Kratos finishing strong too. And I couldn't agree more, especially when it comes to the Southern Six. The only thing they let Alex Taylor do is the tagline. Let him speak more. Put him in second. Let him go first. Mix it up a little bit. Thrillbilly's got the title. We already know what Kerry can do. So I agree. Let's go to the next one. We got, I think, just like 4 left here, I believe. And where are we? 4 or 5? Yep, 4. We have the other, I think, title change of the night. I have Joe Alonzo winning the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship from Colby Carino at Sawin with 11 of my 15 confidence points. I think Colby's time is over as champion, or at least for now. And I love Colby Carino, but I think Joe Alonzo's time, maybe it's not so much, Dave, that Colby Carino's time is over as much as it is Joe Alonzo's time has arrived. What do you think?
I do have Alonzo retaining, and if Jamie Stanley is still with him, because he recently had a tryout for WWE, if Stanley is still with the NWA and still with Alonzo, have it be a messed up finish where there's interference and the ref doesn't see it. Be the heel.
Right.
That Colby, I believe, is better chasing than being the champion.
Yeah.
We know he's a great wrestler. He's defended it who knows how many times over the past couple months. But Alonzo has put the work in, and he's from Chicago. So if he's able to do either Exodus Pro, or if Chicago gets a quote-unquote territory for the NWA, he'd be a good champion with Chicago as his home base.
I agree. Yep. What do you think, Jeremy?
I'm going with Alonzo on this one as well. I think it with everything that he's said and the depths that he's gone to in his promos, if he doesn't win, then he kind of has to go away for a little bit.
Yeah. Which would be too bad.
Yeah.
Matthew Underwood said, "You'll think Colby's headed back to the Fed?" And
I don't know.
How does he work with the Fed when he's so small? I love Colby, and I'm torn on seeing him rising and him getting to be at the NWA still. It feels, I guess he just kind of came back. It feels like he came back last week. It's been so soon. But his dad's over there, and he might be a good NXT guy to start. And Colby's never really had the look, but he used to be, Dave, you're an MLW guy. He used to call himself the ugly duckling, and he was he's great as a heel. I love Colby as a heel better than a babyface. But
and Triple H is in charge of creative and everything over there now. So we could be seeing a return to the cruiserweights.
We could. 605 Live. Matthew asked if y'all predicted the loser leave town match yet. We did, and I've been doing it with confidence points myself, and that one I had no idea. But loser leave town, I had Rush Freeman with perhaps the upset going over Brady Pierce and staying in there. And I think, what'd you guys have for that one?
I had Pierce going over.
Pierce, yep. We got 3 left. We got here we go. Blunt Force Trauma versus Knox and Murdoch for the NWA World Tag Team titles. Knights of the Round Tables match. And for this one, think I'm probably going to be in the minority, but this is wrestling for you. I have Blunt Force Trauma retaining the titles. Knox and Murdoch denied. Tag team breakup down the road. What do you think, Dave?
I have Blunt Force Trauma as well, with Aaron running interference for them. I really don't want to see Murdoch's breakup. But, I mean, they gave them the Crockett Cup. They need to do something with them down the line. Maybe it's time for them to, okay, let's go our separate ways for now and meet back up for Crockett Cup to defend our Crockett Cup championship.
Yeah, I was kind of having this argument with Jaden. He's taking me to task into the Discord right before we went on the air, because I feel like tag teams that like stay together but break up to go singles feel like there's half a man, and he gave me probably 8 or 10 examples as to why, there's places where that hasn't happened. Of course there are, but I don't know. Not a big fan of that overall. Jeremy, who do you got in this one?
I've got Knox and Murdoch coming out on top. I think they're going to come out and they're going to get an early jump on Aaron Stevens and just take him out of the picture completely before the match starts.
Yeah. Mark John needs Knox and Murdoch to win. They're my boys. All right. Who do we got? We got we got 2 left. We got Kenzie Page, your NWA Women's World Champion, versus #1 contender Ruthie J, with 15 of my 15 confidence points. I have Kenzie Page retaining over Ruthie J, retains the title. How about you, Jer?
Yeah. Thanks for coming out, Ruthie J. You're a great talent and everything, but unfortunately, you're food for the champ.
Yeah. What an effing waste of Murdoch's, Lou says. We'll see. How about you, Dave?
I have Kenzie retaining. While they are building up Ruthie J, she's brand new to the NWA, so it's going to sting a little, but it's not going to hurt her totally.
Yeah.
It's just going to, if she can hang with Kenzie for 3/4 of the match and then just be wore out, it's building future. It's building a talent for the future.
Right.
She's not quite there now, but they're putting her there to basically test her and see what she has. And who knows, in a year's time, she could be a TV champion or find herself a partner and be a tag champ. And then down the line, when it's time for Kenzie to not be the holder of the Burke, maybe they can give it to her to keep it warm for a little while.
Right.
I like
that. We good on that one? I'll just full agreement on that one.
Yep.
All right. There's one more to go. The NWA World's Heavyweight Championship is on the line as the Camille accompanies Tom Latimer to the ring as she reassumes her insurance policy role as he challenges EC3 for the championship. For me, with 14 of my 15 confidence points, EC3 retains. And for extra points, the reason that he wins, I'm going to guess right now, is because somehow Camille screws this up for Latimer. And there's a storyline that emerges where, she's been talking for him. She's been getting involved in his matches, and enough's enough. I don't know where it goes from there, but I think she's the reason that it doesn't fly. What do you think, Dave?
I have EC3 winning with a quote-unquote wonky finish. I'm not sure what match it was, but I do remember Camille throwing in the towel on a Latimer match. So it's one of these things of that EC3 has the submission move, goes down. This is a no limits match, so who knows if they can use foreign objects or quote unquote international objects. But it's one of these things of EC3 is just getting started. It'll be Tom's destiny to win. But like you said, Camille somehow cost him the match. Then Tom's like, well, she gave up. I never gave up. I want a rematch. Boom. Round 2.
Yep. Matthew Underwood says a female big name cheap shots Camille distracting Tom for EC3. What do you think, Jeremy? What do you think? Who do you got in this one?
As much as I hate to say it, I've got EC3 retaining, and it's because Camille inadvertently causes him to get pinned. I don't know how, but yeah.
This is a good finish too from Fuzzy. I think Tom and Camille stayed together with a beatdown on EC3, and they're glad for a DQ together.
I like that one a lot.
As much as Camille generically just became a face because we all cheered for her. We didn't care if she was a heel, right? But Tom Latimer is the master of all evil, something like that. He's so much better as a heel than a face.
Yeah. And to see them as a power couple, as a true power couple together, I think that would be. I would stand up and applaud for that one.
Yeah, that's the pay-per-view, guys. We're gonna see how that goes. Let's real quick now go into the segment we like to call Championship Wrestling from Jeremy.
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
The following is a presentation of the United Wrestling Network.
It's time for Championship Wrestling from Jeremy.
It's a best of the vault again this week as the UWN stays on hiatus, Jeremy.
Yes, this week we got the opening match was from 2009, I believe they said, and it was a true clash of styles. We got Adam Pearce versus TJP. Oh, TJ, about 20 minutes they went, roughly, about 18 to 20 minutes-ish. And just a banger match from beginning to end. Like I said, clash of styles that these two veterans of the ring made work, and just phenomenal. Great way to open the show. And then we went from that to we got Adam Pearce's last match in the UWN, where he faced off against Colt Boom Boom Cabana. And just like in the match before that, we saw a blink and you miss it 3 count. Just the sneak pin. Except in the first match, it was Adam Pearce that got a sneak pin in on TJP. And this time around, it was Colt Cabana who got the sneak roll up on Adam Pearce. And as it was going off the air, we got to see Adam Pearce just kind of sitting there in the middle of the ring and looking around, and then just having that realization that if that's what got me, it's time to get these off. And we see him unlace the boots and leave him laying in the middle of the ring. It was a great send-off, a great way to see him leave the UWN after everything all the work that he had put in there. I felt it was a very respectful way for them to send him off, because he didn't look weak in that loss. Like I said, it was a sneak pin. We're going to get more of this from the UWN moving forward. We could possibly see a Nick Aldis match in the future. They do have some in the can from Primetime Live, so we could see something coming up from our new general manager for SmackDown in the next coming weeks. I'm not sure. I'm just speculating here.
Yep.
If you're not watching the UWN and all its related products, there's a special level of hell for you.
7 levels of it, perhaps.
Oh no, this one's a special one.
Matthew Underwood says, I miss Dave Marquez on camera. I don't think he's a fan of being on camera anymore. He's kind of said that. I've seen a couple of times. Aldis match versus Bennett, the greatest spot never seen. Oh, I'll have to look that one up. Yeah, it's funny. I originally kind of thought of it for the UWN as like they're very smart. Marquez is very smart and banking on the NWA name. I almost kind of felt like this past week especially was and maybe the weeks before were homages to some of the best, not only the best matches, but some of the best and most favored sons and daughters of the UWN, right? Adam Pearce being such a great part of championship wrestling from Hollywood. So I thought that was nice to do too. Was there anything in Memphis this week? I don't remember watching Memphis.
I didn't.
Yeah,
nothing that caught my eye.
Yeah,
nothing. I was like, I'm going to give this my stamp of approval for the match of the week. Nada.
Yeah,
not unless it meets my standards.
Nay. Yeah, no, I agree. Because they got some work to do down in Memphis. I think they're getting there. Again, but they're in that valley. You need to start climbing up to the other side. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's go into Dave Scooby, Fantasy Booker, in the segment we call I Respect You, Booker Man. Dave, your topic of the week. Are there, in the NWA, are there too many titles and not enough talent? You talked a little bit about this at the start. What do you got for us?
Well, in my opinion, I mean, they have enough talent, but it's just in certain the way they use their talent. Like, in my opinion, the women's division is a very good division. They just have too many titles for that division. With a women's title, the Burke, a tag title, and your TV title, there's not enough representation in the women's division for all those titles. That each title should have, in my opinion, at least 2 possible contenders and a backup to set up storylines for the future. Now, you can build up your tag teams to float between, like in the men's division, the world and the U.S. titles. I'd have the TV titles only defended on Power. Have your junior and U.S. titles or U.S. tag titles defended after having contender matches to help build up the storyline for a pay-per-view. But like I was talking about, the women's division, right now, all the tag teams aren't actual tag teams. They're just ragtag, thrown together tag teams. And at this time, I would bring in outside tag teams, bring them to the TV tapings, and use them for the next pay-per-view, or have them show up for the pay-per-view, not wrestle, but make an advancement towards the women's tag champs. Like in previous times, you've brought in the Renegade Twins, and the Hollywood Blondes. Use them in a storyline that makes sense. If you're not going to bring in and have actual tag teams in the women's division, it does no harm to bring in outside tag teams if you're going to keep the belts on Pretty Empowered. But in doing so, use that to build up some other tag teams within the NWA. If you're going to bring in tag teams from the outside, sign them and have them do 2 or 3 tapings and build them up. If there is going to be a title change, it should be not a quote unquote surprise team. It should be somebody that you've seen and somebody that you can get behind. But looking at it, they're doing halfway decent in that they have several different wrestlers that can vie for almost any title that they have. In my opinion, I mean, I would possibly either dump one of the tag belts, probably the US tag titles, dump that, or move it to one of your territories. That if you have a territory, use some of these belts and only have them in that territory, that if you're able to have monthly tapings or monthly events run, use those belts to your advantage, and instead of having a singles belt, maybe have your US titles down in Florida if you have a Florida NWA territory down there.
Makes a lot of sense, yeah.
But it's one of these things. Overall, as the NWA is growing, it's good, but I just think they've done too many belts too fast.
Right.
That they don't have the time to highlight all these belts. And I'm just hoping that they use these belts for the different territories. Don't always create a new belt. That if you're going to have the US titles, tag titles, have them down in Florida, or if you do a Tennessee, if you do Joe Kazana, if he doesn't have tag belts there, put the US belts there and have that as a representation of the NWA in that territory.
Super smart, man. Like, you could look at Joe Kazana used that at JCP. You could have, like, you know, I don't know what he's got, but if you have a JCP junior heavyweight champion, your JCP heavyweight champion, and your the NWA US tag team champions as your tag team title. I love that.
Yep.
Yeah, or singles belts, right? If you had a US title, or even the NWA Florida Championship, if they brought that back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be just take away the independent promotion title. Yeah. Or put them together, right? You know, and just merge them into whatever.
And anyone, I mean, like Exodus Pro, they're going to have a NWA Exodus Pro title. Those can be defended at Exodus Pro or any other territory, but also at pay-per-views. Why not bring that person in and have them on the pre-show?
Right.
You're not hurting anything, and you're highlighting an NWA belt that is not always shown on NWA programming.
Right. I think that's smart, Dave. I think you got it right. Like, I had never even thought about that before. I think that solves a lot of problems for the NWA directly. For too many belts, not enough people. You're a smart man, Dave. No one has ever said otherwise. Thank you very much. Scott B. I think having a bunch of NWA regional champs sort of just detracts from the NWA talent coming to the territories. I think under what Dave's proposing, and hi, Scott, by the way, I don't think I've seen your name before. Thanks for being here. I think that's, you know, what Dave was proposing kind of helps solve a bit of that problem. I'm going to go back and clear up the some of these comments before we that I've missed through Jeremy's segment, and even before that, I think. What does Fuzzy say? Saw that one already. EC3 brings Dixie Carter for a side check. Full confidence points. All the confidence points that Dixie Carter shows up for EC3.
She showed up in OVW for him, so
why not? Camille Fuzzy says already messing up the story on like so Camille messing up is already the story on like 2 to 3 different teams, including Pollo. I don't want to see this happen for smart reasons. It'd be lazy booking, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Said. Yeah, understood. I was thinking EC3 brings Clearwater as his side dude. I don't know. Live at 75, Clearwater was an instant babyface. I'm kind of hoping he becomes a true face, with EC3 being a semi face.
Okay.
Yeah, great ideas. Aldous match versus Bennett. I'm pulling this one up to pull the next one up. As Matthew Underwood had said, the greatest spot never seen. That Aldous Bennett match was the COVID comeback pay-per-view. The bad broadcast led to the final straw for the NWA and Dave. Nick and Billy called the production community theater. I'm going to look into that, man. Thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate it.
That was where that was the first instance of us getting that I had a fight going, well, you need to talk to UWN and NWA, and the NWA and UWN going, no, that bullshit was on Fight, and you need to be talking to them, and it just went back and forth.
Right. That's right. I'd forgotten entirely about it, as I often do a lot of things. Right, baby? Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. It's not lazy booking, Mike said, if Camille winds up with EC3. That's interesting. That's an interesting thought. Willie had asked, no more Derby City Wrestling? Do we know anything yet? Yeah,
I don't know yet, buddy. As soon as I know, I'll let you guys know. But all I know right now is that they got that Dave did secure TV with a Spanish television channel. But that's all the news that I have at this moment. I haven't even heard any more about the possible crowdfunding. So,
I mean,
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know right now. Scott B had said, we said that already. Just my opinion, Willie said, phase out the national championship, bring back the North American Heavyweight Championship. My problem with that is that there is one in NXT or wherever it resides. I don't watch WWE.
Yeah.
And I don't need
Dominic Mysterio is currently the North American NXT champion, so
Yeah, I don't want one for us again. Like, especially when lineages go that way and they get taken over by someone else. Like, I don't know, like people will say occasionally to me, bring back Big Gold, right? Well, like that went to WCW, broke away, that went to WWE, you know, you got your version. It's gone. It's not, I just don't feel like North American title is something that we need to look at for me. But there you go. Scott says, I live in Louisville. I haven't heard much about Derby City Wrestling lately. Derby is in limbo, even though they were taping his weeks back. Yes. So that's about it. That's it. That's all. Join us next week if you can, if you will, if you please. The banners. Dave Scooby, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on X and Instagram at Dave Scooby, and over on TikTok at Dave Scooby, the number 1.
Awesome. And Jeremy, how about you?
You can find me at HJWOTS on Elon's app and at Championship Wrestling Jeremy on Threads and Blue Sky and all the other ones.
You can find me at the Alliance Gold on all the social media platforms that most people use. I'm not on any of the crazy ones that, like, you know, so the Alliance blog, at the Alliance blog, is on everything. I'm on a few of them. And that's Jay. Alliance-wrestling.com, your number 1 source for news and entertainment around the National Wrestling Alliance, United Wrestling Network, MLW, various independents around the world. Tomorrow night, these two guys are back, if I haven't worn them out, by taking this 90-minute podcast for 2 hours and 20 minutes. And it's my fault. It's entirely my fault, everybody, because I often go, oh, guys, we don't have enough content this week. And then I add content and we have too much content. So tomorrow night, these two guys are back. I will not be there in all likelihood. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, these two fine gentlemen from the other Alliance guys joined the Alliance guys, J. Cal, Jaden, DKM. They're going to go through their picks, and our guys will throw in, have a little friendly contest about who's going to win at the end of the day for the NWA Samhain pay-per-view this coming weekend on Fight. That's Saturday night. I want to say Saturday night, right, guys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Saturday night. And then, of course, Tuesday. Following that, Jay will be back. I assume they'll be running the pre-party, even if there's no power. I don't know, but if he doesn't, then there you go. But that's when he's on, is the hour before power. Thank you very much, Mike. Jeremy, we need to do a review of Samhain.
Hit me up. I'll be home. I'll be home on the weekend. Hit me up.
Don't forget
you got my DMs.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you feel so inclined. We thank you for being here. Restore the NWA Hall of Fame. We'll get back to that at some point. I swear to God we will. And until next time, we'll see you at the matches.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.